YouTube, and welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I thought I would do an update for you guys. Let you know how my reading is going. I thought about doing one a couple days ago, last Sunday, but I decided let me just wait. And I could have waited a little longer because I could have waited because I have 3 days off coming up. But I'm just gonna film it today, and plus I don't know what's going on. I might be babysitting the next 3 days. Those 3 days, I don't know. You know, I have to see if my mom's working or not those days. But anyway, so, and babysitting as I'm babysitting Murphy, and that means I'll be downstairs with all my stuff. Anyway, so I thought I'd let you know what is going on right now. So I finished In Search of Mary Shelley, really enjoyed that. I really like learning more about her. And Jennifer Brooks actually did a video. It's just the first one who kind of introduced me to Mary Shelley as a person, not just as, oh, she's the author of Frankenstein. And she did a video where she shared all of her nonfiction books about Mary Shelley that she really enjoys. So there were 2 that caught my attention, which is The Young Romantic Outlaws, which is about her and her mother, Mary Wollstonecraft. And the other one, I don't remember what it's called at the moment, but there was another one that got my attention as well. So I put both of those either on Amazon wishlist, or I would buy them myself through books, or get them on Kindle. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna wait. So because I definitely want to read more about Mary Shelley, because this biography was surprisingly not that long. And it focused on her as the author of Frankenstein. And it also, a good chunk of it talked about her relationship and her marriage to Mary Shelley. Which I was just so, floored by how much of an asshole Percy Shelley is. Despite the fact that he's a romantic poet. He's just kind of a jerk. Terrible husband. But she loved him. So I read that. I also finished Rosemary's Baby earlier via Kindle a couple weeks ago. And actually, my last video, I mentioned I wasn't sure if that was November or October read, and it was in November. I read most of it in November. I don't know why I was, I think because I probably intended to read it in October, and then it didn't happen. So, I decided to read it in November, and I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And there's a sequel. I did put the sequel on my Amazon wish list for Kindle books, but it's a little more pricey than the original book. I noticed. It was like, really? But yeah, I've read, so I'm gonna read that one at some point. And I also downloaded Psycho as well, so I'm gonna read that one. So currently, I am kind of in between books. I'm trying to decide what book, because we have Thanksgiving is coming up, and there's one book in particular that I think would be great to read during Thanksgiving because it's an American novel. And but then there are other books that I'm thinking about picking up that, I always get to this point sometimes where I'm, in between books. And, I attempted to read another nonfiction, which is London Labours, London Poor. And it is interesting, but it's a lot of, it's dense and a lot of explaining things and listing things, and so I kind of put it down for now. I'm gonna read a little bit, and what is her name? Which booktuber? It's another booktuber I watched, scallydagging along with the books. She said it's one that you could dip in and out of, so I might do that. Which means it will take a long time for me to read. And it's funny, it's not as big as the Walt Disney biography, but still, it's still gonna take me a long time to read. So I put that one down, but I picked up this one again, and this was one of the ones I talked about in the end of the year book tab as a book that I would love to finish by the end of the year. Let's see, this is much I have left. And it's really easy to get into, very immersive story, but it's a long one, so I want to continue it. And I read a little bit more last night when I got home from work before we ate dinner. And then, once we're done with dinner, I just want to chill after that because, I'm full, so I'm in a kind of a food coma state where I don't want to read. I just want to watch TV, watch booktube videos or YouTube videos. So I didn't pick it up after dinner, but I was thinking about reading it at some point today. And then the other book I started reading today was, I picked up this one again, The Pale Horseman by Bernard Cornwell. It's the second book in the Saxon series, where our main character Uhtred is this young man. He was born a Dane, but he is raised by the Saxons when they kidnap him and kill his father and older brother. And he ends up, it's all about, his life there and how he becomes attached to it and considers himself a Saxon. And they go to war because the Christians show up and want to take over, and the Saxons don't like it. And King Alfred is in charge, and he's trying to convert everybody to Christianity. So we have the second book where in the second book where it picks up after the events of the first book left off. And it's one of those books, it's not super long, but the individual chapters are extremely long. But I find myself getting through them quickly, as long as I allowed to read a good chunk of the book. Like, my 15-minute breaks at work only give me a chance to read a couple pages. And then when we are, and sometimes when we're visiting like family, it's, or in the car or something, then sometimes I'm not the most comfortable with, in the most comfortable situations, or there's a lot of distractions. But I might read this during Thanksgiving as well. But I want to at least read a good chunk now in the next couple days. Like, read some today, continue to read a little bit more today, and then read more during my 3 days off, which I'm so glad I have 3 days off right before Thanksgiving. So, I gotta be in there for Thanksgiving, because that's gonna be a little crazy those few hours, because we are open until 2 on Thanksgiving Day, which one of my coworkers was saying, oh, we shouldn't be open on Thanksgiving. It's like, well, yeah, but we're a grocery store. So, yeah, we're going to be open on Thanksgiving. But not all day. So, yeah, but I gotta have to be there because we're gonna, I asked to have that time off this time around. But, so, yeah, I'm gonna pick up, I read a little bit of this one this morning while I was finishing up my coffee. And I really like it. There are things that, because it's historical, it's like, it's a war book, there are things about, like, how the women characters are treated where it's just, like, if, those readers that, don't like reading content about, historical content that's about women being treated badly by men, probably would not like this. Might not like this, but this is history. With fantasy, yeah, you can be a little picky about that, I feel like, because authors can do what they want. They don't have to have how women are, they don't have to have stories where men are, horrible to women. You don't have to in a fantasy book. You can have other conflicts. But, or you can have, you can still have a battle of the sexes, but it doesn't have to be as, as bad. But yeah, I was just thinking, but because there are booktubers that I watch that are just like not interested in reading books, just, that have that kind of stuff in it, especially even if it's historical fiction, and you can't change the past. But yeah, so that's the only thing. It has a lot of that. It does have some of that in it where men treat women like badly, but that's how they think. I mean, they don't see it as treating them badly. It's just so yeah, but I still enjoy it. So the book I was actually thinking about that would be perfect for an American centered holiday is the great American novel Lonesome Dove. And I recently talked about this in my end of the year book tag where I mentioned that this is a book that could potentially shock me and surprise me because I'm not into Westerns. And I thought I would try it. Now, I only spent $4 on this book, so it's not the worst thing in the world and not the end of the, if I end up not loving this book. I mean, I will feel bad about it and disappointed, but this book could also surprise me and I could enjoy it because, there have been situations where I'm like not into a genre, but I've made exceptions. And that's probably partly because I've been in the right place to try them out and been in a good mood to try it out and be experimental with my reading. So there's that. And the booktuber that actually kind of inspired me to give this book a shot is Mike from Mike's Book Reviews. He did this, he read this book with a couple other people. I don't know if they were all booktubers or not, but he did, and the book surprised him because he doesn't read Westerns. He watches Westerns. He remembers watching them as a kid. I think that's what he said on his video. But he doesn't read them, so they missed the mark for him. So he tried this book and he actually really enjoyed it. Thought it was good, and I thought, let me try it. And like I said, I only spent $4 on it at the roast office, so it's not, and I have kept looking at it at the library, but of course I'm not going to browse from the library because this will take me more than 3 weeks to read, and I'll keep having to renew it, and I don't like doing that. So I'm going to try it. And I think it would be great to start around Thanksgiving because it's a very American book. It's in the Old West. So let's see. I haven't started it today yet, but I will. Some of the other books I was thinking about picking up recently was Life and Fate by, I can't think of his name. I knew his name, but it is a classic Russian novel. I thought about reading that one, and I thought about reading I go through a process I will go through a process sometimes where I pick out a bunch of books that I'm inspired to read, and I have to narrow it down to see which ones I want to focus on. And it ends up being it takes a long time for me to narrow it down because I keep thinking, oh, these are books I should read because I started them a while back and I need to finish it. Or these are books that, they've been sitting on my shelf for a long time. Or they're books that, I'm so excited to read them because I just got them. But then I'm thinking about all the books that I've had for a lot longer. Or all the books that I have neglected. That I want to continue with. That I want to, pick up. So it's always this process of elimination, and it's very stressful. I've also thought about continuing with Anglo-Saxon Attitudes by Angus Wilson. And I really liked what I read of that one so far. I like the writing, and the setting reminds me of The Weight of Ink a little bit, or at least half the setting of The Weight of Ink. And I thought this one was really intriguing. It's a classic that I've not heard about before. I don't hear people talk about this as much, so I wanted to pick it up and go ahead and read it, so maybe it could bring light to people, bring it to people's attention if I enjoy it. And then, of course, I was thinking, I gotta read this one. This is the Shadow Rising, the 4th book in the Wheel of Time series. I'm trying to think. I don't know if it's book 5 or 6 when the whole supposed slog happens, or maybe it's 7. I don't know, but I know it's. But I'm trying to make sure I don't fall behind and and end up not focusing more on the series, although I have not watched season 2 yet, because I want it to have a fair shot. but I feel like Amazon kind of put their foot in it with the first season. But then a lot of people say that Netflix, it's worse with Netflix. Although but people have seen the Avatar, The Last Airbender television show, the live action, it looked good to people, so I always have hope for adaptations and want them to do well. Or at least, satisfying enough. So I don't want to fall behind on the series and end up focusing more on the TV show rather than the book. So I need to pick this up soon so I can stay at least one book ahead of each season. So that is my current reading, how it is going right now. I would love to know what you are currently reading. Is there any particular book that you're going to read for Thanksgiving this year? Would love to know, are you going to read a very American book? I think that, I don't know if anyone else thinks about that idea, but I don't know. I just got inspired to, since Thanksgiving holidays coming up, to read a very American book. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to be notified about my latest videos. And I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.